Welcome everyone to episode 27 of the Looks Like a Movie podcast. My name is Kevin. I'm here with Doug and Owen, and today we're going to be talking about the newest movie in the Insidious franchise, Insidious: The Red Door. We'll also cover some news at the end of the episode. As always, share the episode, like, comment, and subscribe if you're on YouTube. Follow our Twitter at the link in the description, and give us a rating on Spotify, or follow us on Spotify if you're not already. And before we get into anything else, let's
Somebody
talk
gave
about
us a
what we
1-star
watched.
review on Spotify.
Really?
Yeah, I did the math and figured it out. Someone gave us a 1-star review. That's
Um,
fucked
I
up.
could see it though. To
My
be fair, it's
bad.
probably one of Owen's haters. Yeah, it's probably somebody who
Kevin, are
just
you
got mad
closer?
at. Am I closer?
Yeah,
Like my webcam. I was just trying to figure this out before you joined. I was
You
looking at my
look-
webcam,
you
and I
look
was
like
like, why is
zoomed
it
in.
so zoomed in?
Yeah.
I don't know what happened, but my posters are not like.
You got
I
cropped.
tried to. Yeah, I don't know what
Bro
happened. I
got
didn't do
cropped.
anything. I
Bro
don't.
got cropped.
It's really bothering me though, and I don't know how to fix it. I don't. I don't know where it came from. Anyway, um, I'll figure it out eventually. But let's talk about what we watched this week. I could go first if you guys want, because I watched like
I
literally
always
nothing.
forget we do this, bro. I don't know what I've been watching. Like,
Bro,
what the
slack.
fuck?
Because I literally watched like, other than the Mission Impossible movies, which I don't really feel like talking about because we're going to make an episode about it next week. The
True.
only thing I really watched was I rewatched Magic Mike XXL. And shocker, it's still a perfect movie. I kind of want to make a YouTube video. Of it.
Yeah, you should do like a 60-minute
Yeah, no, I was I'm
breakdown.
on the fence about whether I
Yeah,
want to start making like long
YouTube essay,
videos.
Magic Mike.
Yeah, exactly. I wanna make a video essay about Magic Mike, but then I'm like, that's kind of lame. But then I'm like, no, I kind of want to do it anyway. I don't know. That's literally all I watch though, but it's perfect. So, and some Love Island, of course. Big Love Island things happening. We got Love Island movie night tomorrow. Best episode of the season.
Oh, I thought you like a Love Island movie.
No, they don't watch movies. They don't watch movies. That would be cool though. They just
What's the movie night?
It's just a movie night. So halfway through the season, all the Islanders get put into separate villas and meet a bunch of new singles and like see if they like want to cheat on each other and stuff. It's all fucked up. It causes all this drama. It causes all this drama. Not okay. I'm like oversimplifying. That's not literally what it is, but a bunch of drama happens when they're in this Casa Amor place, and then when they come back after, they do a movie night where they see clips of what the other person in their couple was doing when they were away, and they all react to it, and it causes a bunch more drama. It's really fun. Anyway,
kind of like Kids React.
Not really at all like that, actually, but all right. What'd you watch, Owen?
I watched some things. I watched Bunny in the Bowl, which is Paul King's first feature film, and it's really interesting. It's like it almost is like Paddington if you take away the bear, and it's more like edgy but quirky in a way. It's like
So
I don't know.
It's
It's
not Paddington at all.
it's not Paddington, but it still has like the Paddington like charm and kind of humor and kind of British likeness to it, but it's just kind of darker and weirder. It's interesting. I definitely recommend it. I think it's definitely like a kind of film because I've only seen like he has Paddington 1, Paddington 2, and then this. So it's like Paddington, it's a franchise, and then you have this kind of separate thing. And I think this is good film to kind of look at and be like, yeah. This guy is like a real. He can do shit. You know.
Did you watch it because the
excited.
Wonka trailer's coming out?
It's supposed to come out.
They said it's supposed to come out any day now. They said they screened it.
They screened it to the press like 3 days ago or something.
Yeah.
So fingers crossed.
Are we not the press? Like
when do we get that?
Yeah,
I mean, listen, I got recognized in public. I feel like that means we're moving
That's
up.
Crazy.
Yeah, so I watched that. That's really fun. I watched Immortals with Henry Cavill, and I was like, this is kind of bad. Which I was kind of annoyed about because like I looked at the film stills like a long time ago, and I was like, oh, these are really cool. And every time I would see those stills in the movie, I was like, oh, this is really cool. And then like there was like 30 minutes in between the stills of like this is the most boring movie ever. Yeah, it's kind of cool. Like Henry Cavill is there's like some cool like action scenes or whatever. Like they're like you'll throw like a spear across the thing or whatever, and it'll like track it or something. But it's just like there's just a lot of boring beats. It needs like some touching. But there's some interesting stuff in it.
Immortals or
I
300?
watched Wolf's Hole, which
Didn't
is
listen to your
a
question at all.
Czech film directed by the same director who did Daisies, which is kind of this like horror film in like the snow.
Yeah, I
with
still have
like
to watch Daisies.
Daisies is really great. And I watched Trouble Every Day, Claire Denis, which is probably like the best thing I've seen recently, besides Dario Argento's Opera, which I really liked. I've been
Yeah,
doing
I saw you
a
like
lot of
that.
Dario Argento stuff, and that's probably my favorite of his. I loved all like the cinematography, and that's really cool.
Nice.
Yeah, Opera rules.
Douglas.
I've seen that movie. What have I been watching? I watched a couple Mission Impossible movies, because they're cool.
Agreed.
I watched this movie Saved with my mom.
Talk about so much Avengers Infinity War.
I also
didn't you watch
watched
like an
Avengers
animated movie?
and I watched Lightyear.
Yeah, those are like
Lightyear.
watching. He's been putting out the
That's what it was.
Criterion Collection.
I saw you watch Lightyear, and I was like, "Why is he watching this?" But then I was like, "Oh, he's probably not watching it alone."
No, I did not put on
It
Lightyear.
was like 4 a.m. He's alone in the dark.
No,
watching
I was not
Lightyear.
chilling and threw on Lightyear. No, I've been watching lame stuff. I really need to get to some cool movies that I have.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the Lone Ranger.
No, I was thinking more like some Fritz Lang, but
Yeah.
I haven't been really watching anything new or interesting broadly to me, which sucks.
Yeah,
but
that makes
yeah.
sense. No, I'm very excited for myself to finish Mission Impossible today, because that's like the last franchise I'm gonna undertake for a little while here. I'm just excited to watch stuff that's like actually on my watch list.
Too much
Can
franchises.
we talk about how we're on week 4 of the podcast talking about franchises?
Yeah, we've been talking about a lot of them. Yeah.
Come back next week for another one.
That's all that's been coming. Yeah, I know. It's all that's been coming
back next
out.
week for another one. Granted, it's like a finale. It's like a big,
Well, is it a finale though? Because
Tom Holland's gonna be in the next one, right?
I don't think that's true.
I was speaking more about like it's like a finale for like our little franchise run.
Okay. I was gonna say, it's not the Mission Impossible finale.
Next one, the Oppenheimer franchise.
The
franchise. I mean,
there's
Barbie will probably be the first of a franchise.
The prequel's directed by Paul Schrader.
I don't know if you guys have checked your movie theaters recently and seeing like what's going on, but like Barbie, the Barbie
is going to make a lot of money.
Look crazy.
It's going to make a lot of money. like a lot
Every
more
day
money.
That movie
those projections.
That movie looks so bad.
Yeah, but the way that the projections have escalated and the amount of people that have talked to me about that movie, I don't think I could go a day without somebody new asking
crazy
me about
because
the
it's
Barbie
just like
movie.
Normal people who never talk about movies are
Yeah.
talking about not even only Barbie, but like the whole like Barbie and Oppenheimer thing is so like universal to the point of like people who haven't watched a movie in the theater all year are talking about it.
I had to unfollow that Discussing Films Twitter account because I unfollowed them because like they keep posting like they posted like a Barbieheimer like poster, and that was it. They were just like Barbieheimer poster by, and I'm like, what the fuck? This is not why this isn't news.
I don't really care if those news accounts post stuff that's like not news, because they're still like Twitter accounts. It's like if they want to post like random shit, then like go for it. But I just don't like how much the conversation about either Barbie or Oppenheimer like go hand in hand together everywhere on the internet. Like it's impossible to like see anything about one of them without the other one being brought up. And I'm like, okay, this is exhausting now. Like I am looking forward to both of these movies.
I saw multiple posts online from like just random people who are like, I'm not even really excited about Oppenheimer because it's just like
I
the
was about to
random
say that.
people, and they're like,
Yeah.
it's like, are you guys? They're like, are you guys pretending to also be excited about Oppenheimer? Like, what is? They're like so confused
Yeah,
about
I
the whole
saw
thing.
somebody that
Oh,
was like,
man.
Because
I'm
it's
sick
like
of being
people,
being
just regular people who were like excited for Barbie are like, do I have to also be excited for Oppenheimer?
Yeah,
Because
it's like, what is going on,
yeah,
dude? Like,
people are confused because
it's
it's like
Yeah.
been
it's almost the way that it's been going on, like just not like from the teams themselves, but like the social media marketing of it all. They're marketed together, so
Oh my
yeah,
god.
it's a
Like the
weird thing.
letterboxd, I mean, it's like everybody is fucking
Yeah,
at fault for
yeah,
this. It's every social media team is the most annoying people on the planet now, it feels like.
yeah. It's just been
Um
meme to death because it's like we get big double features multiple times a year. Like that's a normal thing to happen for big double features to happen the same weekend, you
and isn't
know?
Haunted Mansion coming
Like,
around at that time too? When was
oh,
talking
you know
about
what
Haunted
I
Mansion?
is it true that Haunted Mansion is taking away IMAX screens from Oppenheimer and they're not doing the 3-week deal anymore?
whoa, I don't know about
That'd
that.
be
Because
I
awesome. I'd
thought
because
rather
I
see Haunted
think I heard
Mansion.
I don't know if it was like a real source, but I think I saw something about how Oppenheimer's not going to have the big like the big IMAX screens in the city and everywhere else for 3 weeks anymore because apparently Haunted Mansion is taking
Shout
them
out,
over or something, which I don't
shout
know.
out,
That would,
Lakeith.
if that's really true, that's fucking awful.
yeah, I don't
But
know if that's true or not.
I'm gonna
Speaking of
rate
Haunted
Haunted
Mansion
Mansion the
though,
same as Oppenheimer.
Haunted Mansion might be the greatest movie ever made, but that movie's going to lose so much money.
yeah, yeah.
It
It's
has
probably like
Haunted
one of the
Mansion
best.
has a
It looks like one of the
$200
best
million
Disney movies in
budget.
like a couple of years. I'm gonna be honest.
There's a lot of these movies coming out with big budgets that are just not gonna make them back. Like,
Shout out Aquaman 2.
and a lot of them are like big. Okay, okay.
You
All right,
gotta go on.
let's start talking about Insidious.
Wait, does James Wan have a flop yet? Budget wise?
No,
Budget
So
wise,
Aquaman 2 is the first one.
bro.
Okay.
That's just not making its money back
The
in. You
first
know it.
Aquaman made $1 billion.
Yeah. And the second
Yeah.
Aquaman will make a cheeseburger and a nickel. All right, best Insidious movie. Here we go.
Yeah. Okay. That's definitely a way to start the conversation. Where do we want to start?
No, so
with this?
I was excited about this. I was pretty
Yeah.
openly excited about this. We did our God. We've been doing this podcast for way longer than it feels like.
It's been 6 months now, by the way.
Yeah,
6 months of podcasting. We're at half a year.
It's like as long as I've been alive.
Okay.
So we so we did like an episode. God, that is crazy. But we did like an episode talking about like our most anticipated movies for this year, and I brought up Insidious: The Red Door. And a big thing that I was mentioning was how it's like it is Patrick Wilson's directorial debut. And that's crazy.
Aquaman's older brother.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like spiritual? What do you?
Yeah.
No, like
No,
in the movie.
in the movie.
Oh.
And
He's the ocean master.
he is the ocean master. Anyways, but like, and how like that's really interesting, and it's kind of like the Michael B. Jordan thing, but kind of more significant for me because I'm not like a huge Rocky or Creed guy.
And better.
It is better than Creed 3.
Sure.
Kevin, you have to push back.
I'm not the like Owen is gonna come on the podcast, and if he doesn't like a movie and I like
Fight
it,
back.
he's gonna push back. I'm not that guy.
Fight
Like
back.
I'm not here to shit on a movie that I don't passionately dislike. Like if we watched a movie that I think like is bad in a way that like really bothers me or like offends me, then like I'll push back. This is not that movie. I just don't feel
but you can
very
also, like,
strongly
you can
about
also like
it.
defend the movies
Well,
you
what
like.
about-
You can
Sure, yeah, and I did defend the movies I liked. To be fair, but it's not like
Put in the comments if you think Kevin defends the movies that he likes.
I do defend the movies I like.
Type 2 in
There's
the comments.
okay.
please.
The thing is, if sometimes I like a movie and there's no defense to be made for it. Like I could
Yeah,
defend
because
it.
it's like propaganda and stuff.
Oh my god, I don't like those movies.
What about Across the Spider-Verse?
Okay, shut up.
Gotcha.
No, but you know what I mean? It's like I'll say why I like a movie, but like
Yeah,
it's not like I'm
it's
gonna
the
change your
cops.
mind. Like that we don't, you know. Anyway, the point is Insidious: The Red Door is just like I don't like hate it or anything. I'm just not like passionately into it. I didn't watch like any of the Insidious movies leading up to this. I'm not like super connected to the franchise. I have seen the first one a long ass time ago, back when it came out and I was a little kid, and I don't remember it because I was terrified of it, and I watched half the movie with my fucking eyes closed, like looking through my fingers, because it was like the scariest thing I ever saw as like a 12-year-old or whatever. So I don't like really remember the movie other than like characters or like certain jump scares or whatever. So I don't know. I went into this movie like with very low hype because I am not like really connected to the franchise. So yeah, I don't know. No, I didn't think I was gonna like dislike it. I don't know. I think my problem is the only like connection I have to this franchise is, like I said, I watched one of the movies a fucking decade ago and thought it was the scariest thing ever. And I still get scared of shit like crazy now. So I went into this movie being like, I hope this is the scariest thing ever. And then when it wasn't the scariest thing ever, I was like, well, I didn't really watch this for any other reason. So yeah, no, it's like it's a nice, it's like, we could talk about it. Like, it's a nice father-son story. It is. I just like, it's not what I went into the movie for.
Yeah,
you have the father, the son, and that little ghost spirit.
Yeah. Why do people dislike this movie?
Because they want to be scared, Doug.
I think
I've seen like no one wants to be loved anymore. Everyone wants to be scared.
Like Insidious fans also dislike the movie though.
They want the little red lipstick guy, and they want to be shitting their pants.
That's such a dumb fucking thing to bring up. I hate that.
Yeah. I think I've seen one of the biggest complaints I've seen is probably people complaining about the writing, which, to be fair, didn't really bother me that much. I don't think there was like specific bits of dialogue that I was like, oh, that's kind of silly. Yeah, I didn't like that part. Like there's like random parts where I was like, no human would ever speak like this, but it's fine. Like, I don't know.
But the people that complain about the writing also give like some Marvel movies 4 stars. You know what
I
mean?
Sure.
Like, the people who complain about the writing,
I think,
also are dumb.
I think there's this is the thing with like bad writing in movies that I will say, like, in my perspective, I think a lot of people are quick to call a movie like badly written if there's like 2 lines that feel weird or like out of place. And it's like, that's not like the totality. The totality of like writing a script is not having 2 lines of dialogue that sound funny. You know what I mean?
It's like 2 lines that are bad and all the other ones are fine. It's like bad.
Yeah, like you have to keep in mind stuff that's not even like spoken dialogue. You know what I mean? Like character arcs and like the progression of the story, like things that,
it's not even writing, it's just delivery, and like that's not the writing's fault.
Yeah, like don't get me wrong, I agree with those people who laughed at that little brother line. I heard that. I was like, it's really weird that he said that, because why would you call your little brother? Funny. but yeah, that line doesn't make
like
it a
take
bad
me out of
script.
The movie at all.
Yeah, I don't, and I'm not like defending it as a good script. I just think I don't think
all the performances are like that great, but it's like whatever.
Yeah, I thought Patrick Wilson was pretty good.
Patrick Wilson's
Patrick Wilson's the goat.
Yeah, well, he's like really good actor as well.
Yeah, he's like one of our great American actors.
Like the scenes when he's dropping Dalton off at college, like him just being a dad, he's so good.
Yeah. I saw something on Twitter about like, I don't remember the exact wording, but it was something about how like Patrick Wilson is like this really talented actor that has only done like horror movies and big like franchise stuff, and it's interesting that he's not in that much other stuff other than like earlier in his career.
Those are the things. That's all you want, man.
No, yeah, I don't know. I'm just saying it's interesting because like
you want some schlock, and you want some Aquaman schlock.
I don't know. I just thought of like the fact that I watched Little Children earlier this year, and I was like, oh, this guy's. Oh my god! Can we not with this joke? I watched Todd Fields' Little Children earlier this year, and I was like, oh, Patrick Wilson is awesome in this movie. But he did that like 15 years ago or whatever, and it's like this. Yeah, like Oscar nominated. Like, yeah, he is. Yeah. I don't know. It's just I saw that tweet and I was like, oh yeah, I guess that's a good point. Like he is really only doing like acting in like franchise stuff or like horror, and it's interesting that he did stuff like Little Children and hasn't really made movies like that recently. Not to say that he's bad in the franchise stuff he
just
does.
likes. He probably just likes genre films.
Sounds like he
That's,
likes the
like,
horror genre, and he is a slave to James Wan.
Well, then that's another thing. It's also he's like he has like a relationship
He's
with
just
James
in like
Wan,
every
and
James
James
Wan.
Wan just happened to make an Aquaman movie for for a lot of
Yeah,
money. Yeah,
and he's the president in Batman v Superman.
Oh, that is funny. Yeah,
He's just by voice though. You don't see him.
yeah.
Because he did Watchmen for Snyder, and then Snyder's like, oh, come be the president in this like just like voiceover, but then he's Aquaman's brother.
Anyways, we should talk about Insidious: The Red Door because we haven't really talked about the movie and structurally like at all, even a little bit.
Yeah.
So Insidious: The Red Door is the 5th Insidious movie. It is kind of like which is crazy. So I haven't seen Insidious 3 or Insidious 4, which isn't called Insidious 4. It's called Insidious
The Last Key.
The Last
Key.
Yeah, I haven't seen
There's
those
like
two.
hand.
But the first Insidious movie is kind of like a classic movie, like
Sort of,
among like
platinum.
the culture. Yeah, no, like it made a ton of money. It's like really beloved among like horror enthusiasts. People like it's kind of like widely regarded as like one of the scariest movies of all time. The lipstick monster jump scare behind Patrick Wilson. It's kind of one of the most iconic movies in modern cinema, probably, like in terms of how recognizable it is.
I think if I didn't see that image like every day of my life, it probably would have been more scary.
I was gonna say the same thing about this movie because I like that's one of the things that didn't scare me that much. Is like one, I've seen that guy so many times. So when he shows up, I'm just like
the homie now.
I'm just like, he's cool. I mean, he looks creepy. Like it's just the jump scares, and I think when there's a horror movie that is like the only scary parts are the jump scares, it's not going to have like too lasting of an impact on how scared I am, because that stuff I'm like, I'll jump in my seat a little. But then if it's like a jump scare and then you follow up the jump scare and like the thing I'm looking at after is like not that scary to me, then I'm like, I'm like, okay, well, I'm not that like there was like the one where he opens like the bathroom door and there's like the kid like puking and he's like turns out to be like this weird ghost thing, and I'm like, I looked at the kid and I was like, oh, that's not very scary. Which is fine.
He's a tortured soul, Kevin.
I'm aware. I just it's the same thing with the lipstick monster thing. I'm like, I've seen this guy before.
No, but with the like on the first Insidious one, it's like because I've seen that thing so much time. So when they're talking and you see like what's behind him, it's like, oh, that's what I know it's coming because But
I will say, I think that knowing when a jump scare is coming doesn't really mean it's not going to be scary always.
I agree. Yeah.
I think that like even, and also it doesn't even also, it's like horror movies can do more than just scare you, you know,
of
like
course,
like this movie.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but I think
this is the most emotional movie since Knock at the Cabin that I've seen in theaters.
I think that's a valid thing to say.
I think this movie rocks.
More setup. So yeah, it's a 5th Insidious movie. The first Insidious movie is like super important, right? Like just like trying to like one of the most, one of the biggest movies ever, on like by some metrics, right? This is the 5th one in the franchise. The Insidious movies already have kind of like this history of actors in the series like stepping up to direct sequels once James Wan steps down, because James Wan famously doesn't like to direct sequels. Yes.
Aquaman 2.
Yeah. Aquaman 2. But anyways, now this is the 5th one. Patrick Wilson, who is like we already said, iconic actor, iconic horror actor.
Big forehead
kind of style. Big forehead, big dad energy. Directing this, it's his directorial debut. It is literally the only movie he has ever been in that he didn't act. That he's like not.
What?
He's
acting on his ass off.
It's the only non-acting credit that he has.
Okay.
That's how I should put it. It's the only non-acting credit he has.
Is he producing this or no?
I don't think so. But this is all to say that I had high expectations going in. and it did not exceed my expectations, but it did meet them, which is something that I cannot say for like any other fucking Insidious fan for some reason. Because this
Yeah,
movie
and I
rules.
said the first two kind of aren't that great, and this one's. But I rewatched the first one after, and I'm like, yeah, I like it a little more. I still don't love it, but I think this one is kind of like the perfect version of these movies for me, because like even like it's like if the movie's just like really scary, like with its jump scares and stuff, like that's not gonna win me over or anything. I think the jump scares in this one are choreographed in an interesting way.
Yes.
Like there's the one where he's like doing like the matching on the
I
window,
like that one a lot.
and he takes like one off, and you see like it's like you see a blurry thing in there, and then he puts it back on, and he's just playing a game,
Yeah.
and he's taking things on and off, and you just kind of see this guy come closer. I think that's a really interesting idea.
And that was
Yeah,
foreshadowed in the first scene of the movie at the funeral, because we see the same
because the thing in
figure
the car. Yeah,
behind, like in
Yeah.
the not in, yeah, he's in the car and it's behind the windshield.
the window.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
the
yeah,
back,
Cause
the
like
back
he like
window.
puts his
yeah, yeah,
head
yeah.
down, and it's just like there's a lot of like covering things and like revealing them a little, and then like I don't know. I think it's really interesting. Like
Yeah,
even if it's like not the most scariest thing in the world, I think I'd rather it just be less scary to me and like more interestingly like shot.
That's why I
yeah,
think that the MRI jump scare
Yeah,
is
it's
like
really good.
one of the more impressive jump scares like in
he's
any
like
kind of
crawling
movie.
in there.
It's so good because it's like it's a really long setup where it's like, oh, he's going to get his MRI and it's like
He's like,
whatever whatever.
they're not going to show him just get an MRI. Like,
Yeah. And then
Yeah,
he's going in there and it's going well. Then the power shuts off and
yeah.
then it's like, oh, what the fuck's going on? And then, bro, the setup is so long, and the doctor is like, "There's someone in there with you," and it's like, "What the fuck?" And we like just slowly see like just like little bits of a fucking dude
Yeah,
like
you get like
hipping
his
over his
like
shoulder.
hand come down, or he's like
yeah,
there's like this shot where he's like you're like looking up at like Patrick Wilson's face, and you just see like a little bit of like shadow behind him.
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, there's just like the way that they build up the jump scares are like really interesting.
Yeah.
Um, even
Which,
if like they're not the most scariest thing in the
yeah.
world.
yeah.
And so it's the fifth Insidious movie, and
We
it
keep going
is
back to this. Yeah,
the direct sequel. It is like a direct sequel to the first two movies.
Yeah.
In a way that the third one, which it takes place before the first two, is not, and I don't know anything about the lost
Yeah, I
one.
think that's what it is.
Whatever.
Like, because I haven't seen them either. It feels like the third and fourth one are more about like just like kind of the universe in a whole, less than the family.
Yeah, but this one they bring back the kid from the first movie. He's playing the kid
Shout out
again.
Ty Simpkins,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
And it's
Iron Man
literally
3. Let's get
it's
it.
it's all about him going to college and his dad being like kind of like a bad dad. They're
Yeah, but
divorced.
so the like the first scene, they basically like it shows like they wipe their memory, so they don't remember anything, and that's like a
Yeah.
big point of the movie.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's because so like the way that they figured out how to suppress from like they decided that the best way to take care of their fucking problems was if they just wipe their memories clean
Which
and
is
like
crazy because like that's the whole thing they do in like the first movie. It's like that like because Patrick Wilson like doesn't know shit because they like made him forget when he was a kid, and they're like,
yeah.
all right, shit happened again. Let's do it again.
Yeah.
It's so
Uh
funny.
yeah, it makes up for like an interesting. It's a kind of an interesting setup because it's like oh, Patrick Wilson's like a bad dad and he's like really distant and cold, and it's like, oh, why? It's because you have fucking demons. You have literal
Yeah, well,
physical
it's like
demons. Yeah.
it's interesting because like I think in the first movie, like I'd come away from it being like, oh, Patrick Wilson's like he's really trying to be a really good dad, and he's not perfect, but like there's obvious like him like really trying to be a good dad, like both of them like the mom and dad like they're really trying to be good parents in that movie, and the
Yeah.
first movie is like very much all about like young parents with young kids like really trying to like protect their kids, and when
Yeah.
you open up this movie with their memories getting erased, and then he's divorced, they're at a funeral, and he's distant from his whole family, and you're like, okay, something like is wrong. Like this is not the same guy that we left off with. And it's like it's almost like this kind of like thing where he's just kind of been medicated for so long that he's like he's in this like weird kind of state of like he doesn't really because he like is I forget Rose Byrne
Hmm.
who plays the wife. She's
Yeah.
like talking about how like you've just been like slow and you haven't really been like there for like the past decade, which is like how long he's just been like kind of like lost this year. And if you just like
Yeah.
take a year out of someone's brain, like it's gonna be like they're gonna be a little like fuzzy. So he's just
Yeah.
not been like the best dad because of that. And he's been like him and his son have this weird relationship because like of all of that. And I think it provides for a really interesting like setup to their relationship.
Yeah.
Um,
I think it's good. I think it's cool. And it is like, yeah, it's like it's just Patrick Wilson trying to be a good dad. Like he drives
yeah.
his kid to college, and like he's like carrying all of his like fucking kids' boxes, and his kid is being so distant and like giving him the
Yeah.
cold shoulder.
He's like ahead of
Um,
him and he's yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. And it's also his kid's just kind of like not his fault because again, physical, literal demons and like trauma and whatever.
Yeah.
His kid also just seems like an asshole. Like when he gets to college, like not just to his dad,
Yeah.
but like just to, like in general,
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
unpleasant to be around.
Yeah.
Uh,
Which kind of happens a
yeah, but
lot. Like,
he doesn't remember him being 10. It's like he's
yeah,
got
of
demons.
course. I just mean even when you put that stuff aside, it's definitely a pretty
Yeah.
regular occurrence for kids to grow up and like not be like the joyful, like full of spirit kids that their parents used to see them
Yeah,
as. Like it's
it
like
would be weird
sometimes
if it
you turn
would
into
be
a bit
weird
of an
if it was like
asshole.
10 years later and the guy who like got possessed by demons at age 10 was like having lollipops and like twirling
Yeah.
around. You know?
Well,
It's
that's
like
Yeah, if the
no, but
kid
you know what I
whose
mean.
dad
Like,
was possessed by a demon and tried to kill him,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
was just
yeah.
like a really like chill dude. Like,
yeah, yeah,
It's literally
exactly.
like if like the kid from The Shining. It's like the kid from The Shining growing up and being normal. It's like
yeah, it's yeah,
it's just
literally.
not happening, bro. I don't know what to tell you.
No, maybe that was what's wrong with Jack Torrance. Maybe Jack Torrance was possessed by a lipstick demon. Um,
Maybe. Probably
Yeah,
not though, but
no, it
maybe.
kind of is like that though. Like no, well, the whole second movie is kind of like The Shining.
yeah,
Um,
but better
Yeah.
because it's James Wan and not Hack Kubrick.
Right, right.
that's what
Okay.
they
Anyway.
say. That's what they're saying.
But yeah, so that's like the setup for the emotional core, and it's kind of like his dad realizing his dad facing. He's like, oh, I do have these problems that are like kind of ruining my like the relationships that
Yeah,
matter in my life. I have to go fix them, right? And it's
yeah.
like it's him putting in like effort into his relationship with his son and his family again.
Mhm.
And like that, and like that's like that works for me. But of course,
Yeah.
it's an Insidious movie, so what's happening is like, we have to open up the red door here,
The
and
Mhm.
red door.
the red door, the titular red door, actually. Jesus.
Yeah.
With
Yeah.
that, his son paints. That's how it comes into this movie, which is so cool. Like that whole scene where his son paints the red door is so neat.
Yeah,
Um,
the painting stuff I really liked.
I
I
wish it
thought
went a
that
little
stuff
bit
was pretty.
farther.
Yeah, I
You know,
can
I was
agree with
thinking
that.
about when you said that, Doug, and it would have been like kind of I don't know if think it would like set the plot ahead or something, but I was really thinking about like if like he went like on like a class trip to like a museum or something. Like there could have been a really cool that could have been a really cool like set piece for like a jump scare or like a something like that in like this like museum with like a bunch of art stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if like
Um
the lipstick demon was like hidden in one of the paintings or
Yeah, he like
something.
jumps out of a painting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I think that I like it wouldn't have been like really that important or like move along the plot, but I just think
or
like that's
if
just
they
kind of
go
like
to a museum and they see the father eating his son painting like at like
yeah,
in
yeah,
person instead
because
of
like you have that scene where they describe like Saturn eating his son, like that whole scene. Like you could have done that scene in a museum, and like had like him jump out of that painting or something. Like I don't know. I just think like the way all this kind of like art talk and stuff. I think I just kind of go like with my personal experience and just like you know with like art school and just going to like museums a lot. And I think that would have been very like a thing that he would have done just in art
Yeah.
school. Um, and
so
I think that could have happened.
the art teacher character is kind of like that's my I think my I have two big criticisms. Big, I like the movie a lot. They're not like huge criticisms. I have like two, but my two big criticisms for the movie is like the art teacher. she feels way too much like, oh, we need a reason for
Yeah,
our main character to do this one thing and like paint the red door and have this like this
yeah.
crazy scene, like, you know. And it's like, so
Yeah.
we just have the art teacher do this. Other than that, she serves no purpose. I wish that
No,
like she
yeah, she
Yeah,
really
I
didn't
think you
like.
could have built on her a little more.
she just disappears after that one scene from the
Yeah,
movie. um
Yeah, there's like one scene with you have like he's like doing like charcoal drawings, and then there's like he has like paint on his not paint, it's like blood on his
Blood,
hand.
yeah, blood.
You have that thing, and then he does a lot of like his drawing stuff like in his room, though, like when he starts painting and
yeah,
stuff.
exactly. Which like
And then
he
there's
could have
that
been
one
doing from the
scene where
beginning.
they show that like the painting of the sun getting in, but like besides that, you're in that class for like two.
Yeah, especially because of how they like paint her character. Like, you know what I mean? Where it's like she shows up and she's like the very strict art teacher and she has like the kid who she like kicks out of the class, but it's like
Yeah,
you didn't really need to
that
like
seemed like they went
give
all
her that
hard on it.
personality
Yeah.
because it's not like she shows back up, you know? Like if
Yeah,
you
what if
like
she should have got possessed to try to kill him or something? I don't know.
Yeah, it's very uneven in that way, where it's like we have
Yeah,
this,
I
well, this is
don't.
it's like Patrick
and
Wilson
that's like
brings
a
up.
writing complaint, by the way.
Yeah,
Like
I
that's like
think
a
that's
real
fair. I
writing
think that's
complaint,
fair.
not just like dialogue, you know?
Yeah,
I
because
think
like,
that's a more like understandable writing complaint that I was like, oh yeah, this could have been worked on more than him being like, hey little brother, like it's like come on.
yeah,
Yeah.
because it's like Patrick Wilson brings up the teacher in the car, and he's like, oh, did you get the teacher you want?
Yeah,
And
like there's some actual like it
and
There's
almost
a
then
lot of
seems
there's a
like
lot of setup for her character
there's
that like
and
it
then
doesn't
just
almost
like
turn
seems
and then
like
into
just
she was
anything.
disappears.
bigger in like another draft.
Yeah,
Like she was more important in another draft, and then they like cut it down, and they just kept like parts that were building her up in this draft,
because
just
it
as
does
like
seem like that she
just
should
as
have been
dialogue
more
moments.
significant, because it's literally
Yeah.
just the one character scene where she's like, rip up your painting or
Mhm.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
And
almost feels like there was something like bigger to her character in terms of like the further and like just kind of the mythology of it all that you just don't get. Um, which is interesting.
Yeah, pretty much all she does is establish the like 10-second countdown that's required for him to go
yeah,
into
like
like
Yeah,
this,
that
you
kind of like
know.
movie device where it's like, oh, we have to like, how does he get into the world? And it's like,
Yeah, like
what
how does he
I
discover that this thing is
loved
going
was like the
on?
set piece and the whole idea of him in like a drawing class and stuff. Like
Yeah.
I love that. I just it's not like for me to love the movie more, I think you'd have to build on that and kind of do more with that.
yeah,
But I do think it's a really interesting idea.
it's a cool pitch for sure, for like, how do you make an Insidious sequel now? Like, what? But if we bring it back to the original characters, right? And
Yeah.
it's like, oh, we have him be an artist, and he rediscovers like his like traumatic past and like these
Yeah.
demons again by doing like having his subconscious draw the his quote unquote subconscious draw the
Yeah.
red
Yeah.
door.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
um, it's cool. I mean, it's really cool. It's neat. Like,
Yeah. And I think even the thing you say with the museum could have been, I don't know, there definitely could have
Yeah,
been
I
something
think
that
there's just
happens
like
in
I
because the
think
art class itself is like interesting,
I
you
think
know.
the kind of idea of art could have been built on because especially like with the ending and how like thematically important like art is to this film. I think that could have been built on like thinking of like the Stendhal syndrome from Argento and stuff, just like interesting ways you can use paintings and stuff thematically and like horror. Um
Yeah.
for me to like this be like the best movie ever, I think that's where you kind of build on. But I think its strongest suit is definitely like the emotional stuff. I wish that
Yeah.
art stuff kind of rivaled that.
yeah, well, yeah. I mean, the art, like the emotional stuff, being like the arc of Patrick Wilson and his son's characters.
And then but
Uh,
you also do have because we didn't mention it when he's dropping him off, and I almost wish they built on this a little more. I think it's still effective, but it's obviously more focusing on Patrick Wilson and his son. But you have this whole moment where when he's dropping him off, and they kind of talk about how Patrick Wilson's character is always like, I'm doing better than my dad, right? Because my dad left me, and Dalton kind of snaps back at him and is like, he left 40 years ago. You got to stop kind of having that ruin your life now. And there's a lot of moments where it's like Patrick Wilson is kind of just blaming his father for leaving. So there's kind of this like mystery of like, oh, why did he leave and like all this stuff. And I think that the whole like kind of generational trauma aspect that they're tapping into, where he blames his dad, he blames his dad. There's just kind of this
Yeah.
like just keeps going down. I think that whole thing is interesting, and I like how they like kind of dive into it. And he's haunted by his dad. And I wish we got a little more, but I do like this whole idea of this like trauma with like they like astral project and they're like haunted by demons and it's getting passed down from son to son. I think is really
Yeah.
fascinating.
Well, because it's like, but it's like, so I need to miss. You've seen the movie, the second movie more recently than I have, Owen.
Yeah.
But like, it is like it's so like the lipstick demon isn't the thing that was haunting Patrick Wilson as a kid though. That was
No,
the
it's
lady
like
in
this lady in
the
black.
lady in black, right? So and like the lady in black was kind of like created by his parents, right?
Yeah.
Um and the lipstick demon is kind of like maybe not created, but it's kind of like Patrick Wilson's fault that the lipstick demon is introduced in their lives, in a
Mm-hmm.
way. So and it's so like that moment at the end where it's like, oh, it's Patrick Wilson is the person like holding back the demon that he kind of quote unquote like not really created, but like maybe like thematically created, right? To
Yeah.
save his son instead of like just letting it. I don't know. There's some I don't know. It's like it's interesting. I
Yeah.
think that it's like
I
there's
just
more interesting than some people are giving it credit for.
I think yeah, I just think the whole idea of because it like well it's revealed spoilers it's revealed that like Patrick Wilson's dad like had these same kind of things like the astral projection and like demon stuff, and it's interesting because it's like it's kind of like this mental health kind of subject because it's like back
Yeah.
then like mental health wasn't treated like the same, so like they put him in like an insane asylum because it's like, oh, you're seeing ghost stuff like obviously
Yeah.
that's where they would put him, and he ends up jumping off the top of the building and killing himself, and they just told Patrick Wilson um that his his dad left, and he blamed him like all like his whole life he just blamed his dad for leaving, but then you kind of learn that he was just like him, his dad was just like him, he just it's just a different time, so they locked him up for that, and it was kind of like he kind of frees his dad at the end, because he his dad is kind of just warning him pretty much about the red door and what he has to do. I think it's a really there's yeah I don't know, it works for me in that aspect.
The astral projection, what is it called? The fog, the
The
other,
further,
the further. Yes, the further is such like it's a smart it's a smart narrative tool because they don't have to explain it at all.
no,
And they can
no,
kind
no,
of do whatever they want in there and the audience just has to accept it because it's like supernatural bullshit. Like, so it's like when Patrick Wilson sees his dad in the further at the end of the movie, um
yeah,
the audience really isn't thinking like, oh, is that really his dad that he's talking to? Does his dad really see him? Like it's like or it's more
yeah,
so it's just like because it's like that's not what matters. It's the idea
no, no,
that
no.
he's moving on from.
Well, yeah, I like the idea because like they talk about it in the first movie. They kind of like describe like how it works a little bit, and I like the idea of like there are like demons that are trying to like like parasites pretty much, and then there's just like good dead people because like I think you have a lot of that in this movie where you have like the guy in the frat party who just was like killed by like frat people,
Yeah.
pretty much, and then you have his dad, which like they're like they still have their like jump scare moment, but they're trying to help our main characters. And
Yeah,
I think that's like a good balance of like interesting, like because they're trying to close the door, they're trying to close the red door, and they have to,
yeah, it's an
assist.
Yeah.
interesting way to present ghosts actually. To
Yeah,
do like a ghost
it's
story.
very Sixth Sense in the way
Yeah,
that it's like they're scary because they're dead, they're
yeah,
gross, but
like
they're
even
trying to help our characters out.
yeah, even good ghosts are really fucking scary. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
Yeah.
smart. It's
which
interesting. Like
well, because you have like they're dead, so it's almost like a American Werewolf, Sixth Sense kind of thing, where you have like they're dead people, so they're like decaying or they're like throwing up or something, and they're all like
Yeah.
green and stuff, but they are still trying to help, and they're good.
Yeah, no. I was gonna ask you guys about the college scenes too, because there's the character who we haven't even brought up. That's like a pretty big part of the movie. I don't remember her name. Sinclair Daniel plays
Yes.
her though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't
That's
remember her
another one of my
character's
big
name.
complaints, and
I
it's
think
not her
she's
performance.
yeah.
Her
It's like one
performance
of
is
her
good.
first movies.
She's funny.
I
I
like
Uh,
her. I don't know.
I
I wish
think
there was
her
more to
character
her
was
character.
poorly written.
She's just kind of there.
yeah, that's what I mean. There's a lot of those scenes that
Yeah, I
don't
don't know. I think
really do anything for
So
me.
people brought up like the line being like, "Tell me, little brother," as like something taking them out of it. To me, that didn't take me out of it because I was so into like, oh, how sincere this movie is, and I was like, whatever. That's like a really sincere. I feel like if you're really into it, it's that something like that isn't gonna really take you
yeah.
out, you know,
Yeah.
because of it's just the movie trying to be sincere. The line that took me out was when at the end when fucking Lipstick Demon possesses the kid,
Yeah.
forgot his name, um
Dalton.
Dalton, yes, possesses Dalton, right? And as Dalton being possessed by the Lipstick Demon attacks her, she goes like, "Hey Dalton, I know you're in there, but if you touch me again, I'm gonna fucking beat the shit out of you," or whatever
Yeah,
she
yeah,
says.
yeah.
To me, I'm
Yeah.
like, why would you say that? Like that was that took me out so hard because I
Yeah,
was like,
no,
I
I
didn't think it was
think
funny, and I thought it was like
in
inappropriate for the
terms of
moment.
like a writing or just even like a character situation, I think she's definitely like a weaker moment. I think that like that's a good like obviously like, if you're going like if you're having like a character go to college, like it's a pretty obvious like kind of writing thing to do where like he
Yeah, it's like he has
meets
to
some
meet somebody
yeah,
there
it's
that
like
like
it
is
kind of
gonna accompany
because like
him.
you're
Like
not
he's
just
not just
have
gonna
him
be
alone out there. Like it's kind of dumb. It
yeah.
could be interesting, I guess, if like he's just completely alone and like there's the way you could do that, but I think it's kind of an obvious like, oh, he's gonna go to
Yeah.
college, he's gonna have a roommate. That's gonna happen. It's just kind of how
Yeah.
movies work.
And
But
it
yeah, I
also
think
sets
there's
up all the stuff that happens at the frat house because if
yeah,
she's not
yeah.
there, he
She's a
doesn't go to
good
the
like
frat
kind of plot
house.
device to kind
And
of get him out of his
yeah.
shell into places and stuff.
And
But
because
it's like I
he's
wish
away
she
from
was
his
built on
family,
more.
they need somebody. They need somebody for Lipstick Demon to attack that's not him, so that he feels stakes too. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Because like in the first two movies, it was oh, the Lipstick Demon is attacking Dalton, so that Patrick Wilson character has urgency. But obviously they're separated in this movie, so
Yeah.
Yeah. Which also I don't know. I don't love that as much. Maybe that's why I wasn't like that moved by the relationship the way that you guys were, because there's just a lot of like scenes where they're in two separate places and they just kind of like he just kind of like texts him.
but that's like
And
real shit though.
no, yeah,
Like
sure,
Yeah,
sure,
yeah.
of course. I'm not saying it's not. I just,
no,
I don't
one of
know.
my favorite moments in the movie was after he gets the MRI scan, right? Which is
Yeah, that
one
part
of
I
the best
like.
scenes of the movie. But like after he gets the MRI scan, he calls Dalton, and it goes to voicemail, and the voicemail is like, "Hey man, I went to the doctor, everything's all right. I mean, everything's not all right, but I'm figuring it out." And I'm like, that's so fucking real. Like
Yeah.
that's such a vulnerable thing to do, to call your son after he's like, well, are you gonna like after your son calls you out on your bullshit, call him and being like, hey, like I'm really trying, like
Yeah. No, I agree. I don't know. In
Yeah,
general,
it
I
just makes sense because like they are like apart, but I think that it works that they're, you obviously don't want them to be so apart, but I think it's just kind of a natural thing because like he's at
yeah.
college, he's their way, but I think him being apart makes the whole scene in the further kind of more effective, like when he just he's holding
When
the
they
door
find each
back
other, yeah.
and he's telling him like he's almost letting him go in that way, and then he has to go paint the door. I think like the fact that they have this kind of distance, of like
Yeah. And to be fair, I don't think the movie makes any sense if they were together the whole time, because then there's like also the setups with like him discovering that it is his dad, like with the
yeah
painting and stuff, which would have made no sense if
yeah
they
yeah
were
yeah,
if he was there with him.
which fucking
Um
rocks that whole
yeah,
painting.
no, that
no,
stuff's
that was
cool.
really
Yeah, like they
cool.
have to be apart. I'm just saying
Yeah
Yeah,
I maybe just wasn't that like into their relationship. But also that goes back to the fact that like I didn't watch the first two movies before this. And if I, like if you have
yeah
three movies with a pair of characters, then you're probably going to care a lot about those characters. And if I'm just doing it based off this one movie, because it's also the
yeah
aspect of like for example, like Rose Byrne is pretty much like introduced
Not
in the
in this
beginning of the movie, and then she just like doesn't show up until like the end
and she
again.
has like a big role
And
in the first.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. And like watching this movie without watching those first two beforehand, like her character pretty much feels meaningless in this movie. Whereas like for a lot of other people, she obviously is still meaningful because you already know her,
Yeah.
and like their relationship with each other. So that kind of ending where she like Patrick Wilson is going into, the whatever the red door place, and like she's just the further, there you go, like when he's going into that and she's like watching him, then like that probably holds emotional weight that it doesn't hold if you're just watching it as a standalone movie when she's only been in it for 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Well,
So
I like her. You wish she was in it more, but it's also I think it works because I think
it's a dad movie.
she's not really needed, but I think because it works because I think this the Red Door feels more heavily focused on like the theme of like fatherhood and like the father and son connection, where the first movie feels more about like just
family.
parents in general and just
Like,
family. So it like makes sense for the mother and the father to kind of have like an equal role, whereas this is just more focused on like fathers and sons because you have Patrick Wilson, Ty Simpkins, and then just the ghost dad. Like there's just a lot of dad son thing going on.
Yeah.
So it makes sense for her to
yeah.
be kind of sidelined here. But yeah.
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 There was something that I noticed that people were complaining about, and I don't know if it's just because I don't know the franchise enough, but people were talking about like Easter eggs and like fan service, and I was like, I guess I just don't know these movies enough because I didn't notice that at all.
You mean like
when they go on YouTube?
Oh, because the YouTube thing. Yeah.
Is that really like what we're complaining about though?
Oh, that was dumb. Yeah, I saw.
Yeah, no, I didn't like that part. To be fair,
I saw a legitimate critic bring up that because they were like, "Oh, how do we?" Because granted, she's such a big part in the first movie. She's like a main character in the first movie. Yeah. She's basically
dead.
If granted, anybody listening to this probably has seen Insidious because it's such a big cultural moment. But it's like she basically fits in as like the Warrens character from The Conjuring.
And she's kind of like the lady in the Poltergeist. She just shows up and like got a ghost bust him.
Yeah, no, which is like an important character in movies like this. But like very iconic in that first movie, and people were like, "Yeah, we just gotta like fit her in somehow. Let's just show her in a YouTube video." And I'm like, I guess it's fine. I thought it was fine. Like,
yeah, I don't think it like in the moment I was like, oh, okay, that works.
Yeah, in the moment I was like,
yeah, it's her.
That's her. But I wasn't like, oh, I'm being pandered to. I was just like,
but it makes sense.
Also, franchise. Like,
it totally makes sense in like a modern world, right? If you're like figuring out you can do this shit, you're gonna go on YouTube and look it up, and it makes sense that
she's an authority,
like the only people that are talking about it on YouTube are the people who have done it. Like it's like it just makes kind of sense that the guys that they find on YouTube are the guys who have done it. Like it makes sense in like a modern kind of Insidious movie that they would look up on YouTube or the internet like how to do this. Which I don't know. I because there was people complaining about like Easter eggs and stuff, and I was like, the only Easter egg I can think of is them seeing like going on YouTube, which I think works in the plot of the movie.
Yeah, because it's like, yeah, that's what I mean. It's like it's the same people who also like I remember we had that conversation whenever it was about people complaining about how like all these big directors don't want to make movies in the present, like modern day movies. But then it's like people make modern day movies and it's like, oh, this is lame because they used
why
are you
going
video.
On YouTube?
It's like, do you want people to make movies like with modern technology?
I think the texting stuff worked well too.
Yeah, I like it.
There's a scene where Dalton and they're in the car driving to college, and Rose Byrne, like the mom, like texts Dalton, and
he like looks over at his phone.
Like, are you good? Like, is everything going fine? And he says like, no. He's like, it's not. It's like going terrible. And then he deletes it, and then it says going fine. Like, I think that's an interesting way, like a moment of using text in like a real way that actually shows how he's feeling and like his relationship with his mom and his relationship with his dad. And he's like, he's not it's not going well. He doesn't like it, but he wants his mom to like think it's going fine. Like it's like that's a really interesting way to portray like the dynamic just from using text.
Yeah, I agree. I think incorporating technology the way they did is like totally acceptable.
Yeah, and it wasn't overused, and it
What's
wasn't like in
power
every
rank?
scene, but I think it works.
Power rank.
Okay, no. Rank these 3 movies and how, because I know we've all seen these 3 movies. Rank these 3 movies and how well they show texting on screen. Okay, the 3 movies are Insidious, The Red Door, Tar, and Decision to Leave.
I don't remember what did they do in Tar.
Decision to Leave number 1.
Insidious. I don't remember the Tar texting.
Tar's probably at the bottom.
Yeah.
Even
though Tar is the best movie out of the 3, it's probably at the bottom with how it uses technology because of the fact that they have an Instagram live where someone is texting on the screen.
Oh
that
yeah,
makes literally no sense
I
at
remember
all.
now. I remember now.
Like they just invented their own technology that doesn't
it's
exist.
probably Decision to Leave, Insidious, and then Tar.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I would still say Tar's the best movie of the 3. So
those are the 3 kind of like
major
movies I can think of that like really use texting as like a plot device.
Yeah, at least recently, maybe. There's definitely a bunch, but
good movies, I should say. There's like a bunch of bad, like shitty movies that do that.
Every Netflix original, every Netflix original ever.
Spider-Man, he definitely texts.
Yeah.
Does it? Yeah, I guess it does. Probably.
He's probably like texting.
It's just.
He's like you stupid. Up with like the fucking spider.
Yeah, I thought texting worked fine in this.
Yeah, I don't know. The YouTube thing made me giggle a little bit, but I think it's only because like it just kind of like only when those two when it was the older lady whose name I don't know because I don't know any of these character names. I thought that part was fine. I laughed a little bit more when the 2 guys showed up on.
Yeah, but I think that's supposed to be like a funny.
But they're
moment.
like funny. Yeah, they're
like because it's like the YouTube like video, and he his soul like leaves his body in like the YouTube edit.
No, it was
funny.
Like
it's like a funny little like podcast thing they got going.
Yeah,
I think it's supposed to be like kind of a comedic moment.
It was silly, and like my whole theater laughed at that part. So I don't know.
Yeah,
there was a baby in my theater.
I think
there's a baby in your theater.
Yeah, I was like, what is going on? It was like 11 a.m. There's like a baby crying. It's like, what is going on?
I think that if you're gonna be annoyed by the old lady showing up in the movie, it would make more sense to be annoyed when she shows up at a ghost at the end to talk to
and then disappears.
Josh.
Yeah, but I was like, woo!
Yeah.
It was like
kind of cool.
I was like, this is my end game.
This is like, you don't even like the movies, and you're like,
it's like I don't care about the other movies, but I still care when she shows up. She's cool. I like her.
She's in a lot of horror stuff, isn't she? Or am I being misled?
She's in the Insidious movies. She's in like every
Insidious movies.
Okay.
Yeah,
but it's kind of badass for a lady at her age to like kind of be like the face of a horror franchise.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong. I think she's the main character for the 4th one. And
because I think I haven't seen them yet, but that's like the whole thing is like they kind of leave the Lamberts and it's just her like doing like ghost busting.
Yeah,
that's badass.
Yeah,
kind of rocks.
No, she is in a lot of horror movies. I was right.
Like what? Name one.
She's in the original Nightmare on Elm Street, and she's I
think I looked at that. She's like a teacher or something.
Yeah, and she's in New Nightmare.
It's not like she's
but still,
she's not like Freddy Krueger.
She's in 2 Ouija movies. She's in one of, I think, the American Grudge. She's in a bunch of stuff.
Oh yeah.
Well, she's old.
Yeah.
True, she is
She's
old.
Been around.
Yeah. Okay. Fair. Yeah. Anyway.
But like this is like her like big thing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Which is like kind of awesome because
she popped up. She popped up, and I was like, "Oh, she's really familiar." But then I was like, "Oh, it's probably because I saw the first Insidious so long ago." So that definitely checks out.
It's like, where have I seen her?
Yeah.
Like the other movies in the franchise.
Yeah, that makes sense. Anything else we want to say about the movie? Anything you want to talk about?
I think we kind of hit all the big major stuff.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I don't like really.
I think it.
Yeah, I just I like.
Do we get a looks like a movie recommendation for Insidious: The Red Door?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
I'd recommend it.
Yes,
I think
it's a good time.
I think I think it's like obviously, if you've seen the other movies in the franchise, then go watch it.
Yeah, no, if you're but it's one of those things where I want to be
they
like,
be
if you're-
hating. They
that's what
be
I'm
Yeah,
saying.
sure, but still,
If,
it's like
if
go
you're a
see
big
it.
fan
If
of the
you
first few movies, you
love-
should definitely go see it. But at the same
If
time,
you have a heart, go see
Yeah.
this movie. I think it was like the one of the, I don't know, what was it, one of the reviews, like it was like the most wholesome horror movie this year.
Yeah,
or
I
something.
saw that.
Like real talk.
I
Not
think
the podcast.
not the podcast. Real talk, like TALK.
Yeah.
Yeah. But shout out the Real Talk podcast.
I guess, yeah.
Um,
They
Okay,
did not
I have
like
a
this
question for
movie.
you guys.
go
The
for it.
Nun. The Nun is coming out this year.
Okay.
The
I don't
Nun
think
2.
I'm gonna
The
like
Nun
that.
2, right?
I don't think I like
Yes.
nuns.
Isn't
What's
somebody
a
who's playing
profession.
one of the main characters is someone I like, I think, though, right?
I-
Who's the Nun 2
what's her
cast?
name?
Oh,
What?
I like Storm Reed.
My
That's not who I was
question
thinking of.
about the
Rachel
Nun 2
Zegler
coming
is
out
in the
this
new Nun
Jesus.
movie.
No, she's not.
No, she's not. But my question.
Yeah, what's your question?
My
What's
question
your
about the
question?
Nun 2 coming out this year is it do you think it'll be possible for us to do a we were just complaining about franchises, but is it possible for
Not
us to
another
do
one.
a super Conjuring episode?
Oh
for
gosh, do you
that-
know
that Nun?
how much pain I have to put myself through to watch multiple movies in a row that scare me?
Like maybe we could do, when we did our M Night episode and we ranked all the M
Yeah.
Night movies. What if we did that with The Conjuring?
Listen, I'm not saying
That's
I'm
like the worst.
opposed. I'm not saying I'm
That's like
opposed.
worst.
All I'm saying is that the reason why I didn't watch the Insidious movies before this one is because I didn't want to be scared watching a bunch of movies in a row.
Oh my.
Yeah.
And then you gave it a 2.5.
But I'll undertake the task if it's for good podcasting. I'll do it.
I think the
Let's
Conjuring
see if we
movies-
get 30 likes on the bike.
Yeah, if this video gets 100
views.
likes, no, if it gets 100 likes, I will watch all the Conjuring movies in the pitch black, only past midnight in my room, and
And he's
record
gonna
my
live stream it on
reaction to all of them.
Twitch.
Yeah, and I'll live stream.
So smash that like button. Share it.
No, that would scare the shit out of me. Actually,
Yeah.
If this gets
Um,
100 views, no.
No, I'll do a
100
TikTok
views is
live.
crazy.
Oh wait, no, you
If
can't.
this
can
gets
you-
like the normal
No,
amount of
you'll
views
get-
that we
you'll get
normally
shot.
get.
Yeah, I was gonna say you can't watch movies on TikTok live, can you?
No.
No, but you could
They'll
just
get you.
stream your face.
Yeah, I was gonna say, can't you
Streaming.
watch movies if they just hear it in the background but they're not
Yeah,
watching it?
yeah.
Yeah, so I'll just do my reaction to it. If
Yeah,
this
no,
video,
people
if this
would
video
love
gets a
that.
million likes,
A million likes. If this gets 3
I'll
likes,
stream
Kevin
my,
will
my
live stream
reaction
his-
to the Conjuring
Conjuring.
movies.
If we can get trying to think of someone relevant. If we get Francis Ford Coppola to comment.
Yeah, all right.
Wait,
all right.
what movies are even? What are the spin-off like things
Okay,
for the
okay.
Conjuring? It's the
It's the
Conjuring, the
Gary
Nun.
Doberman do one of those?
It's The Conjuring, Annabelle, the Nun.
Okay, Annabelle.
La-
I like
La
Annabelle.
Llorona. Yeah.
I liked
Did you
Annabelle.
match with her on Hinge?
No, okay.
It's The Conjuring, Annabelle, the Nun, La Llorona, and I
There's
think
a
that's it.
ballerina?
No, La Llorona. Am I saying that right?
I don't think
La-
so.
I don't know.
But I know the movie you're talking about, but I don't
The
think you're
Curse
saying
of
it
La-
right.
The Curse of La Llorona.
Like I thought it was La Llorona, isn't it?
La Llorona? It might be that. I don't know how to say it. I don't. But yeah,
I don't fucking know.
That's one of
We're
the
just
two.
making things up now.
No, I know the movie though.
Yeah,
I really liked. I think I've seen. How many Annabelle movies are there?
There's
Too
3.
many.
There's
I think I've
Annabelle,
seen 2. I think
Annabelle
I've seen the
comes
first
from
2.
it.
I remember. I distinctly remember seeing the first one in theaters back when
What
it
if-
came out and
One
being
of my
like, "Oh, that was
favorite
cool."
screenwriters,
Okay.
Gary Doberman, directed the third one.
We're really going off the rails now. We are not. Anyway, you
Let's
guys
get
wanna
Gary
talk
D to comment.
No, yeah, no. If we can get Gary,
Let me get Barry
no.
from the show. Barry.
For the Nun 2, will it be possible for us to get Gary Doberman on the podcast?
Is he a part of the Nun?
when does the Nun 2 come out? What month?
October, I believe.
Oh, we'll have like 1 million subscribers by then.
Yeah, let me check.
Yeah.
Let me double check. The Nun.
Yeah,
See, the
while
trailer
Doug
just
is
came out.
checking, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're watching this on YouTube and you're not
Oh,
already
Subscribe
subscribed.
if you want to see
Comes out September.
something.
Yeah, okay, September. All right, yeah, I mean, that's a lot
that's-
closer than I thought for
That's
me
closer
not
than
wanting
October.
me not wanting to do a franchise anytime soon, but I am willing.
I'm retiring from franchises.
I'm willing to do this for you if it means we can have a Kevin themed episode at some point before the year ends.
Oh, I don't want to do that.
That's
2 episodes I don't want to be a part of.
We need an Owen. Well, our last Owen themed episode was Twixt.
Yeah, I was gonna say we've already done. I think we've done 2 Owen themed episodes, haven't we?
What's the other one?
I don't know. I could have sworn we did another. Oh no, I guess we didn't.
I guess it was just Now is one for
Twixt.
me.
Yeah, a little one for me kind of thing. I feel like I'm David Lowry in this bitch.
No. Yeah.
All right. Anyway, you guys ready to talk about some news before we go completely off the rails?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some news. And
Lone Ranger reference.
Yeah, I'll preface with the fact that there was like no news.
We're going
this
off the
week,
rails.
so I was really digging for news this week.
I'll go first.
Okay, sure, go for it.
The Nun 2
Jonah Hill
trailer came out.
Okay.
And it looks solid to me.
Yeah.
People are gonna hate it. It looks solid to me.
The Nun 2.
The Nun 2.
Oh, fuck off.
No, okay. First thing is that for whatever reason, Christopher Nolan is continuing on his streak of releasing literally every piece of information that he can about Oppenheimer before Oppenheimer comes out. So I have like 4 Oppenheimer headlines. There was like 12 of them, but I cut it down to like a couple. But I don't know. Where did you say there's cock? Yeah, we could do that one first.
Yeah.
The first one is that apparently this is the
Josh Peck shows cock in Oppenheimer.
Okay, that's crazy. No, the first one is that Christopher Nolan says that the love aspect in Oppenheimer is the strongest he's ever done, and that the film will feature lots of nudity, which is very it's a very funny thing to like announce that about a movie, to be like, yeah, here's my R-rated movie. By the way, people have sex in it.
Also, here's my R-rated movie about
the
Oppenheimer bomb.
But isn't it like the PG-13 in England? Isn't it like 15?
Yeah, they're freaky over there.
Wait. Oh, you mean the rating's different in England?
Yeah, the rating's different there. Anyways.
Yeah, I don't know, but I just think it's silly to like announce about your movie. It's like, by the way, my movie has sex in it. Like, okay.
Yeah, well,
yeah.
No one doesn't normally do that. Yeah. He's like a Marvel
Florence
movie.
Pugh and Cillian Murphy fuck.
Yeah, and not just that, but
and Robert Downey Jr. shoots
saying the love aspect is the strongest is like a very, not that I'm not excited for Oppenheimer, because I am. Yeah, not that I'm not excited, but it's like, yeah, it's like, dude, you have never written one like good woman character. To be fair, this is based on a real person, so I guess he doesn't have to do as much like heavy lifting, but him saying it's the strongest love aspect, there's no competition. Like, you know,
well,
like
John
I guess
David
like
Washington and Robert Pattinson and
okay, yeah, I was gonna say the closest thing is the Inception love story, but that's not even like, I don't know, that
they kiss in the extended cut.
Okay.
I've seen it.
Speaking of Robert Pattinson, one of the other multiple pieces of Oppenheimer news that's so random is that apparently Christopher Nolan says that he got hooked on the story of Oppenheimer because Robert Pattinson handed him a gift of a book of Oppenheimer's speeches at the Tenet wrap party. That's why.
Wait, I thought it was the other way around.
No, Robert Pattinson gave him a book of Oppenheimer speeches, and that's why he started. Read. That's why he started like being fascinated.
That's not even that long ago.
So yeah,
I thought for some reason Christopher Nolan gave it to Rob, and Rob was like, "This shit's very interesting."
No, but it's pretty crazy though that if Oppenheimer is a huge success, we could say it's because of Robert Pattinson.
Yeah, he goes on to say that like he couldn't get Rob in the movie because he's busy.
Yeah. I don't know, just very. Because
Rob would have shown cock.
Fact. Anyway, I won't go crazy with all the Oppenheimer news.
Rob would be such a weird casting for Oppenheimer.
No, would not.
No, he would have been like the wife or something.
Oh, he could have been literally any other.
He could have been Rami Malek.
Yeah. He could have been Rami Malek. He could have been Robert Downey Jr. He could have been
Josh Peck.
Oh, he probably would have been like the Benny Safdie role.
I guess that could make sense. Is he gonna be a big part of the movie?
Like, what are you doing, Rob?
I think
Rob is working on the Penguin show. This is fucking.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Rob was the Robert Downey Jr. character. That's because I don't think he would have been anything.
What are you talking about?
No, but I'm saying I don't think he would have been anything less than like the second biggest character.
Oh, he could have
if
been
he was going to be
Fat
in
Matt
this.
Damon.
Or yeah, but like obviously he doesn't
I
fit
love
them.
that the
but
Fat
you
Matt
know what I
Damon
mean.
era is here.
Okay.
He's like old and like, whoa. He's
The-
all like, he can't run in Nike shorts or something. Even the end of Air where he like
What are we talking about?
the
Matt Damon
funniest
and he can't run.
the funniest piece of Oppenheimer news from this past week was Christopher Nolan announcing that Oppenheimer has 0 CGI shots, and people on the internet thinking that means that they just blew up a real bomb for the movie.
Yo, people. No, I saw
Also,
a tweet that
I'm
was
gonna
like,
call
oh, this
bullshit.
tweet is like engineered to like get replies from people who don't know how CGI works.
Yeah, it's like clear, like
Come
because like that doesn't mean they're still not.
Doesn't mean
VFX
everything in
in
the
it.
movie is real.
Yeah, exactly. Like, cause it's like, I mean, also like, you would have to be. There's no way that he would blow up a real bomb and nobody would know about it. Like obviously that would be news. You know what I mean? The movie got filmed way back when. Like people would have heard about us. Director blowing up a bomb. Like,
They filmed it.
It was
in
a silent
Ukraine.
bomb.
they filmed it in Ukraine. Jesus.
Anyways,
That's
Anyway,
fucking insane.
next piece.
We're never getting Francis.
Also,
Ford
no.
fucking
The last
on
the
this
last
video.
one, the last one I'm gonna mention. The last one I'm gonna mention is that there's like a quote of Emily Blunt saying that Cillian Murphy was so focused on his work that he wouldn't hang out with the rest of the cast and go to dinners with them, which I thought was so funny because I
Bro
don't
just
think that
doesn't
has
like
anything
them.
to do with his work.
Yeah.
Like he just doesn't want to be
He's
around.
just
people.
like Jared Leto for real.
Just
Cillian
not
Murphy,
fucking with those people.
everything about Cillian Murphy is awesome. But he did. There was
I
that
saw
picture
him
that.
smile today with
Yeah,
John
that picture that I was gonna
Krasinski.
say, that picture that came out today was him.
Yeah, your
smiling
favorite
and
actor,
looking
John
happy.
Krasinski.
Oh my god, he's not, dude. I fucking hate John Krasinski.
Your favorite actors, Cillian Murphy and John Krasinski.
No, just my favorite actor, Cillian Murphy.
And
That's
Josh
all.
Peck.
That's the end. That's the end of the sentence. Not
And
Josh Peck.
ATM.
Okay, I'm just gonna move on to the next piece of news.
Fuck! I clicked the Apple TV on my computer.
Next
I don't even have an
one
Apple TV.
is one that caused some internet discourse that we probably don't have to talk about at length. Greta Gerwig is looking to move beyond the small scale drama she's known for and wants to make some big budget movies.
Greta Gerwig goes woke.
Greta Gerwig
interesting
is
perspective.
infected by the woke mind virus. Decides to make Netflix movie.
Oh, the Netflix book series by C.S. Lewis.
Speaking of
I like don't
Greta
care.
Gerwig, did you see that? I care, but I also it's annoying to care.
Kevin
so
does
I don't
not care about the state of cinema.
That's not true.
That's what I care about. It's like care about because it's like the absolute state of the shit that we're talking about, dude. Like she made late
Sure.
Um,
Sure. I don't know. I just think
it's so over. So
I just think it's so over in general, to be honest.
yeah, there's
I
just
think
nothing like keeping
like not
me
even
going.
just movies. I think just like in life, I think it's
Yeah,
just kind of over.
Okay,
Like,
I'm gonna move on
It's
to the
just
next.
the world is cooked. We're
we're
fucked.
cooked. Greta Gerwig
Like,
making
it's like-
Narnia movies. Global
Yeah, I
warming's
mean-
happening.
Right.
Around like the
Josh
urge.
Peck is in a fucking Christopher Nolan movie.
You are obsessed with Josh Peck. Dude.
How did he get that role? What the fuck is going on?
Have you heard of Drake and Josh?
It's
yeah,
it's a
why isn't
successful
Drake
show.
Bell in the Oppenheimer movie?
Because he's in jail. He's
Yeah.
literally in jail.
He's
what are you
like-
talking about?
He's not
That's what we
allowed
gotta
to
talk
be in
about.
that movie. I don't
Bro
think.
was in jail.
What if he was in
It's
Barbie?
all
What if he was
for
Speaking
real.
of the
Yo, he
state,
kind of is
Telling
like
you just how I
Ken.
feel. So
speaking of the state of cinema, our next piece of news: Xavier Dolan is quitting filmmaking.
Oh, pussy bitch, pussy
Uh,
boy.
his
That's
exact quote: "I don't feel like committing 2 years to a project that barely anyone sees. I put too much passion into it to have these disappointments. It makes me wonder if my filmmaking is bad, and I know it's not."
Well, you
Lane.
know what?
I'm kind of just discovering who
They're
Xavier
making
Dolan
car
is.
movies now. They're making Hot Wheel movies and stuff, like toy movies. He should really sign on for one of those, and maybe someone would see his movie if he made like one of those what are those called?
I just think
Like
it's really lame to be
green,
like.
the toy soldiers. I think he'd really do a good job with the toy soldiers.
Toy Soldiers is cool, bro. Have you seen the old Toy Soldiers movie?
No, but I think Xavier Dolan has that kind of
Yeah,
Toy
I mean, it would be
soldier
I don't
energy.
know if he has this chop sword actually. I've seen those clips from Mommy, and I don't
Oh
know.
my
I
god.
don't know
Seen
if he can
out of
handle it.
context clips from Kevin's favorite movie. This is crazy.
No, yeah, I literally was gonna post. I saw a tweet today of like post your 5-star watches of the year, and I was gonna post my log of 5-star watches, and then I realized Mommy was on there, and I was like, I don't want to do this today. I was like, I don't want.
Scared.
What? No, Mommy's like in the top 100 movies on
Yeah,
fucking
well, that's
Letterboxd.
what I
You're
mean.
so
Like people,
IMDb top 250, Kevin.
it's not on the IMDb top 250 for sure.
You're so lame.
It's on the
Box.
Letterboxd top 250.
It's on the Letterboxd top
shit.
100. It has a 4.3
Whoa,
average.
4.2.
Yeah.
Not a single person I follow has given it a negative rating.
Yeah, it's almost like it's a good movie, and he's a
Follow
good
people.
filmmaker, but he's a lame one
Follow more
for
haters.
saying that.
Maybe.
I don't know. It's like if
It's
I was
solid.
if
It's a
I was
solid
like
movie.
in,
I wish Xavier Nolan cared about movies.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like,
Is it
do you know how
Xavier
much
or
like
is it Xavier?
it's?
I don't
I think it's Xavier. I pronounce those two names the
I'll
same way.
just
I
say
didn't
it differently
know
every
what it was.
time.
We just switch it up.
Yeah, I just think it's like, you know how much I would fucking kill for that to be my career. You know,
how much
like
I want to
anybody who's
kill
like,
Xavier Nolan.
okay, you can't
Well, no,
say
okay.
that.
I will say it's dumb that he is quitting filmmaking, especially since, people watch his movies.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I
Like,
think that there is some validity though, and maybe what he said was taking a bit out of context, because he does have a mini series out that literally nobody has seen because it has gotten such poor distribution.
yeah.
No one
Also,
can
it's like
see
if
it
you're
unless they
making
pirate it.
the point, like, and it's the thing. It's like if you're making the point that it's a shame that more people are seeing Marvel movies than like Mommy, then like, yeah, of course that sucks. But I just think like quitting filmmaking, like, and like being an artist and being like, I don't want to make art anymore because not enough people are seeing my movies, when a lot of people whose opinions matter have talked like at length about how good your movies are. You know what I mean? Like I would care much more if you're a successful filmmaker, like the fact that he's making a living doing it and he's this young still, like it's not like
that's
he's
the issue.
been doing it
the
for
issue
a while.
is he's kind of like child prodigy in a way.
Yeah, like it's
he's young ass filmmaker. He's 34, has like multiple features under his belt, and he's kind of like,
bro doesn't really get the struggling artist.
Yeah.
As well as much as like somebody like Michael Snow did, like
yeah. Like he's not like making it like it just feels like he's making shit for the wrong reason, but was very good at it at a very young age.
I don't know. It's just like I would care much more.
And it was like, oh, I don't really want to watch his movies now.
No, I mean, I don't know. I still haven't seen any of his other movies. I know
like,
I'd probably like them if I like Mommy as much as I do, but
yeah, I mean, they look good, and I was going to plan on doing it, but it's like, oh, do I really want to watch his movies now? No, not really.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll still watch his other movies.
There's too many movies to watch from like real artists,
Sure. Yeah, no. I don't know. Maybe maybe it's just been a ploy all along. He wants to do this, and
maybe he's promoting his new Marvel movie.
Public statement to be like, oh, everybody should.
He's directing Fantastic Four,
and then everybody goes and watches them, and then he's popular.
I don't know. My hot take is that clip from Mommy I saw on Twitter looks really bad.
I like it in the context of the movie.
I think the movie's solid.
That's what people keep saying, and I haven't seen the movie, so I really can't have an opinion.
Yeah, and there's other parts of
I think it's like the best scene, probably.
I don't. That's the thing. People on Twitter keep posting that, and they're like, people went nuts for this scene, and like, yeah, I guess people did go nuts for that scene. But there are like several other scenes in Mommy that I think are so much better than that one. So I don't know. Just my.
It's so real.
Wonderwall
should be in every movie.
I was gonna say, but Owen's favorite song is fucking Wonderwall. Bro, I checked the Discord. You've listened to Wonderwall
I love that
30
song.
times
That's
since you started.
That's crazy. I do like Wonderwall though.
It goes crazy.
Crazy.
What if Insidious the Red Door had Wonderwall in it?
So it's like
that's one of my biggest issues though. That the Destroy Lonely song was a little too quiet.
It cuts the slow mo, right? We have the scene where Patrick Wilson is holding back the red door that's getting pounded on, and it cuts the slow motion, and then we go like, "Today was gonna be the day." and then it cuts to Dalton, and it's like, "Right now, you should have saw now."
Yeah, that shit would have gone triple platinum, bro. Like everyone would have been like, it would have been 4.2 on Letterboxd.
Yeah.
5 stars.
Anyway, next piece of news is
It
regarding
would be
some
cool
people
if like
we've
the dude
already
was
talked
throwing
about.
up in the frat house and then it was playing.
No, it should have been destroyed
Slow
while it was
mo,
like
like
fucking
Zack Snyder's slow
pounding
mo.
through the walls while the dude throwing up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways,
Real movie shit.
Kevin,
Anyways.
what's the next headline?
Jason Blum and James Wan are currently looking to adapt more video games into
Blum
horror
won.
films after Five Nights at Freddy's. Jason Blum
I saw
says
this.
that James is actually a big gamer. What do we
Loser.
think? What do we think?
Yes.
And is there a video game that you want to see turned into a movie?
I think the obvious one is
Skylanders probably, right?
Doom movie. Another Doom movie because the first one was bad.
I think
Well, I
they
don't
made.
know.
I think Dune 2 is coming out this year, right?
Oh my god.
But I don't think that James Blunt necessarily
made
needs
one of those.
to get his hands on Doom. I was thinking about it, and I'm like, what video games would I like? them?
Gore Verbinski BioShock movie, maybe.
Yeah, Gore Verbinski Bioshock, produced by James Blum and James Wan, would be
That
crazy.
sounds awesome.
Yeah.
I was
Sign
thinking like
me
a
up.
Metroid movie. You guys know
Okay.
Metroid?
Yeah.
Nope.
I'm familiar.
Yeah, I think that would be cool. By
What
James
about,
Wan, like a Metroid horror movie. Obvious, also another one,
Lego Indiana Jones.
a Resident Evil remake.
They already doing. Oh wait, never mind. That's
They
not
already
what I
did
thought.
that, but they can do it again.
Yeah.
I
They
was
could keep
thinking of
doing
Silent Hill
those.
for some reason.
Um,
Yeah, but just get Paul W.S. Anderson back.
No, let him do
He
other
just
stuff.
does it again.
I
no, they
don't know.
do that, I
That's
guess.
part of the problem is like there's a wait,
They
what's
took a
what
remake though, like last year of Resident Evil. No one saw it.
like yeah, that's what I said. Like an Amnesia movie. They could do like a James Blum, that the PewDiePie
Yeah.
game, Amnesia.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
they could
I
do
kept
Plants
seeing
vs Zombies the movie.
I kept seeing like the response on Twitter that I saw in the replies the most, which is, I guess, kind of makes sense because this news is coming after Five Nights at Freddy's, was people saying that they should make a Slender Man movie that's actually good.
No.
No, but they street
Which
say
I
that's
don't care.
good.
I don't care about. Do they say it's good?
No, it's just Polly.
Oh, okay.
No.
I've never heard anybody talk about that
the
movie
problem
positively.
with that idea is that Slenderman fundamentally is not a video game.
Yeah.
He's a guy. Doug
yeah,
Jones should play Slender Man.
Is Chuck Jones alive?
Yeah, what?
Yeah.
No, isn't he really
Yeah, he
old?
is. Let's get Doug Jones in the pod.
I would love that. I would have so many questions for Doug Jones, bro. He's like literally one of the goats. Like,
He
Doug
was
Jones
supposed
is-
to be Frankenstein, but then,
Doug Jones is 63. Why did you say it like he's like 90 years old?
I don't know.
Yeah.
He seems old.
Like-
I don't know.
he didn't like sail the ocean blue, man. Jeez.
Yeah, I don't know. What's the next? Owen. Name one. Actually, Owen and Kevin, I gave like 5. You
I
both
don't
name
like
one
play video games.
I
especially
said
don't play
Plants
horror
vs
video
Zombies.
games. I couldn't tell you. I
Doug
couldn't tell you
Jones
the
is
last time I
the
played
zombies.
like a scary game.
Um,
Other than like when I was little and I used to play like those scary like pop-up games on the internet with my friends, like the little adventure games where you like click different things around the room. You know what I mean? And-
Webkins, the movie.
Sure.
Okay, what's the next headline? Let's keep
Last
it going, let's keep it
headline.
going.
Last
Penguin
headline.
movie.
I needed to fill the quota. This is a pretty empty headline, but the Coen brothers are reuniting for a new project that we don't
They
know
shouldn't.
anything about right now.
Shut the fuck
I
up.
think they should
Owen.
retire.
Oh
both
my
of them.
god.
I don't think
Maybe
that.
get
I
some
happen to
Coen
really
bitches.
like the Coen brothers.
No, this is cool. I think
it's exciting.
I saw somebody say that it was like it was Coppola. Coppola called them both and told them to get their shit together.
Real. Because what the
No,
fuck is that
I think
movie
it's
that-
cool though. I think it's fun that they both like went off,
and
like
made,
Did their
like,
own
one of them made, like
thing.
it was obvious like who was better from like the split.
well one
Joel?
of Ethan's movie isn't even out yet. So you could like what I'm
Yeah,
talking about.
But we know.
I liked Joel's what was
Macbeth?
it? Macbeth. I thought it was fucking
Yeah.
awesome actually.
Yeah, like Joel had to go off.
I
and
think
make
I saw
his
20
Macbeth
minutes
movie,
of it and I
and
fell asleep.
yeah, okay, dude. Watch a movie not in English for once.
Yeah.
But
It's in English.
Yeah, it is in English. Yeah.
it is in English. Yeah, no.
It's in black and white though. Can't be seeing that shit.
Yeah. Now Owen famously has never seen a black and white movie before.
No, I watch those shits all the time.
Yeah, no, I'm excited to see a movie from the two of them together. I think it'll be good.
Well, I have some recommendations for you. Have you heard of
James Stewart.
I can't think of a Coen Brothers movie.
You can't think of a single one.
No Country for Old Men. Have you heard of
There you
that?
go.
Huh?
Yeah.
Speaking of
Wait,
which,
Owen,
rest
do you
in
like that
peace,
movie? Do you like No Country for Old Men?
Cormac McCarthy.
It's fine.
Okay.
It's not a movie that enters my brain.
Yeah, that's a good time to end the podcast, I think.
I think it's okay.
Like, comment, and subscribe. If
Yeah.
if the podcast gets 5 views, we're gonna do a super Conjuring episode where Kevin is gonna live stream him watching every movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
You know, follow us on Twitter, rate us on Spotify.
Follow
Next
us on
episode.
Blue
Join us
Sky.
next week,
episode.
episode 28. We are
Follow us on
having
Threads.
a guest when we talk about Mission Impossible. Owen will not be here. We are replacing him next week with our guest,
And
who I
forever.
believe we're allowed to say because it's not a surprise anymore. Now this is going to be our guest next
Now
week.
this Big Jim in the flesh. If you don't
Yeah.
know who Now
In the
this
flesh,
is,
in the
he
flesh.
does he made all of the art for our podcast. He's a good friend. He is the goat.
Yeah.
And he's going
And
to be
he
a great
makes
guest.
he makes cool stuff. And when he's on next week, we'll have all his stuff
He's
available
alright,
for you
I
to go
guess.
look at.
Yeah.
But Owen will not be here. Nabis will be. It'll be fun. We're going to talk about all the Mission Impossible movies, and we'll see you next week.
Expect a 4-hour podcast next week.